If you've been working for a few years now, bringing home a steady paycheck every month, but somehow by the end of the month there's never anything left, then at least one habit in this video is silently keeping you exactly where you are. Not loudly, not with some dramatic collapse, but consistently enough to kill your financial future. Here's what most people get wrong about being broke. It doesn't come from one massive mistake. It doesn't come from some catastrophic failure. It comes from small choices, repeated every single day, choices that seem completely harmless. And that's the trap, because you're not doing anything wrong enough to notice. You're just not fixing the small things. Ever. Think of it like a water tank. Nobody smashes it to pieces. It just leaks, drop by drop. And one day you look back and realize the tank is empty. If you've ever asked yourself where your money actually goes, stay until the end of this video. And if this kind of slow, reflective content is what you're looking for, a subscribe or a like helps the channel keep making videos like this one. And if while watching, there's a moment where you think, "That's me," leave a comment. You don't need to explain yourself. Just acknowledge it. Now, the last habit in this video is the one that makes people work their entire lives and never get ahead. If you skip it, everything else you do can easily reset back to zero. So stay with me. Let's start with the first one. Habit number 1. Emotional spending. You don't buy things because you need them. You buy them because you're tired, because you're sad, because you feel like you deserve something. Buying becomes the way you manage your feelings. And here's the problem with that. The feeling passes. The money doesn't come back. You don't remember what you bought. But you absolutely remember how it felt at the end of the month when you checked your account. This is emotional spending, and it's one of the quietest killers of financial stability, because it doesn't feel like a mistake in the moment. It feels like self-care. It feels justified. You worked hard. You had a rough week. You earned this. Let me give you a real example. It's Sunday night. You're dreading Monday morning. Your job is draining you. So you open your phone and start scrolling. Within 20 minutes, you've added 3 things to your cart. A candle, some skincare product an influencer recommended, maybe new headphones because yours are old. You hit buy. You feel better for about an hour, maybe 2. But what you're actually doing is using money as an emotional band-aid, and the wound is still there. You're just bleeding cash while convincing yourself you're healing. The real cost isn't the item, it's the pattern, because once you train yourself to reach for your wallet every time you feel something uncomfortable, you create a cycle. Bad day equals spending. Stress equals spending. Boredom equals spending. According to recent consumer behavior studies, the average American makes at least 4 emotional purchases per month, totaling anywhere from $300 to $800 they didn't plan to spend. And here's what nobody tells you about this. The temporary high you get from the purchase fades faster than you think, but the money is gone permanently. You're not investing in your happiness. You're renting it. At a terrible rate. If you use money to fix emotions, you'll always be short on both. That's the first leak in your tank. Let's look at the second one. Habit number 2. No budget. I know what you're thinking. I remember what I spend. Or maybe, budgets are for people who don't make enough money. Both of those statements are myths, and they're expensive myths. Here's the truth. When you don't have a budget, you don't have boundaries. And money without boundaries finds its own way out. It doesn't ask permission. It just leaves. You know those small fees? The little purchases that don't seem worth tracking? The subscriptions you forgot to cancel 3 months ago? That's not bad luck. That's the natural result of no system. Let me break this down. You've got Netflix and Spotify, and that gym membership you used twice in January. There's the meal kit subscription you meant to pause, the cloud storage you upgraded once and forgot about, the app that auto-renewed. Maybe a news subscription. A meditation app you tried during a wellness phase. Individually, they're nothing. $10 here, 15 there. But add them up. You're looking at anywhere from $80 to $200 a month on things you barely use or completely forgot about. People without budgets don't fail dramatically. They leak. $5 here, 15 there. A monthly charge they don't use. A convenience fee they didn't notice. It adds up so slowly that you never see it happening. And then one day, you're sitting there wondering why you can't seem to get ahead when you make decent money. The answer is simple. You're not broke because you spend too much. You're broke because you have no idea where you're spending. A budget isn't about restriction. It's about awareness. It's about telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. Research shows that people who track their spending for just 30 days reduce unnecessary expenses by an average of 23% without even trying, just by seeing it. Without that, you're just hoping. And hope is not a financial strategy. Another drop, another leak, and wait, the next one is worse. Habit number 3, normalizing bad debt. Let me be clear about what bad debt is. It's debt for lifestyle. It's financing things that don't create value. It's paying in installments for things that lose value the moment you walk out of the store. The trap here is so beautifully disguised. It's only a small amount each month. That sounds reasonable, doesn't it? But here's the math nobody does. A small amount times multiple things times multiple years. And American culture has made this easier than ever. Affirm, Afterpay, Klarna. Buy now, pay later is everywhere. You can split a $50 purchase into 4 payments. It feels like you're barely spending anything. That phone plan. That furniture set on a payment plan from that popular online store. That Peloton bike you're still paying off. The laptop you bought on a 12-month plan. Each one seems manageable, but you're not carrying one payment. You're carrying 10, 15, 20. The average American household carries over $6,000 in credit card debt alone. And that's just credit cards. That doesn't count buy now, pay later schemes, car loans for vehicles they couldn't afford, personal loans to consolidate other debt. And here's the painful truth. You're not buying stuff anymore. You're buying the commitment to pay for your past with your future. Think about that. Every paycheck you get, a chunk is already gone before you even see it. Not to bills, not to necessities, to things you already consumed. Things you might not even have anymore. Bad debt doesn't make you poor immediately. It just guarantees you never have extra. Because extra is already spoken for. It's been allocated to the past, to things you've already consumed, to choices you've already made. Every month, you're working to pay for who you used to be, and there's nothing left to invest in who you could become. Bad debt doesn't break you in one moment. It just makes sure you stay broken, quietly, permanently. Your tank isn't just leaking now, it's draining faster than you can fill it. Habit number 4, procrastination. The 4th habit is procrastination, but not the obvious kind. This is financial procrastination. It sounds like, I'll start managing money when I make more, or I'll get serious about this when things are more stable, or once I get that promotion, then I'll start investing. And it's a lie you tell yourself, because here's what nobody wants to hear. There is no perfect time. The conditions will never be ideal. You will never feel completely ready. Waiting for more money to start managing money is like waiting to be in shape before you start exercising. It's backwards logic that keeps you stuck. I've seen people making $40,000 a year say this, and I've seen people making $140,000 say the exact same thing. The number changes, the excuse doesn't. Good financial habits don't come from abundance. They come from discipline. And discipline isn't something you develop when you're comfortable. You develop it when you're not. The person who can't manage $2,000 won't magically know how to manage 20,000, because the skill isn't in the amount, it's in the system. And systems are built when you have less, not when you have more. Here's the brutal truth. Money doesn't destroy people. Procrastination does. Because while you're waiting for the right moment, time is passing. Opportunities are closing. Compound interest that could be working for you is working against you instead. And the hole you need to dig yourself out of is getting deeper. In the next 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you something that might make you uncomfortable. Every day you wait is a day you can't get back. If you're 30 years old and you wait 5 years to start investing, you don't just lose 5 years. You lose 35 years of compound growth on those 5 years. We're talking potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars. Start now, not next month, not when you get that raise. Now, with what you have. Because what you have is enough to begin. Quick check. If you've recognized yourself in at least 2 of these habits so far, drop a comment. Just the number. You don't need to explain, just acknowledge it. Now let's talk about habit number 5. Habit number 5. Living by other people's standards. This one is invisible until it's not. You're buying things to match an image, to keep up with friends, to avoid being judged, to look like you've made it. And every single one of those purchases is draining your future to fund someone else's opinion of your present. Think about this. People look at you for maybe 3 seconds. They notice your outfit, your car, whatever. 3 seconds of validation. But you're paying the bill for 3 years. The math doesn't work. It never has. But we do it anyway because the fear of being seen as less than is stronger than the logic of being more than. Social media makes this infinitely worse. You're comparing your real life to everyone else's highlight reel. Your friend posts about their vacation. Your coworker shows off their new car. Someone from high school is getting engaged with a ring that probably cost more than you make in 6 months, and you're sitting there feeling like you're falling behind. So, you spend. You upgrade. You finance something you don't need to feel like you're keeping pace. You're competing with edited versions of reality, and you're spending real money to win a fake game. Here's what happens. You work harder to buy things you don't need to impress people you don't know who won't remember you tomorrow. And at the end of all that effort, you're still broke. Just broke with nicer stuff temporarily. The people who actually have wealth, they're not playing this game. They're not posting every purchase. They're not upgrading every year. They're building in silence. They're investing while everyone else is performing. There's a reason the average millionaire drives a 4-year-old car and lives in a house they can actually afford. It's not because they can't afford better. It's because they understand something most people don't. Looking rich and being rich are opposites. Comparison is the fastest way to spend all your money, because the race never ends. There's always something newer, someone doing better. Another thing you should have. Stop running a race where the finish line moves every time you get close. That's 5 leaks. Your tank is nearly empty. But here's where it gets interesting. Habit number 6. Not investing in yourself. The 6th habit is the opposite of what you think. Not investing in yourself. People hear save money and think it means spend nothing, so they cut everything, including the things that would actually increase their earning potential. You skip the course that could teach you a valuable skill. You avoid the book that could shift your thinking. You don't pay for the certification that could double your income. Why? Because you're being responsible with money. But here's what's actually happening. You're saving yourself into a corner. Your income has a ceiling, and that ceiling is determined by your skills, your knowledge, and your value in the marketplace. If you never increase that value, your income stays flat. And flat income in a world with rising costs means you're actually going backwards. Let me give you a concrete example. You're making $50,000 a year. You see a certification program that costs $2,000. It would take you 6 months to complete. But people with that certification average $70,000 a year in your field. You don't do it because $2,000 feels like too much, so you save that $2,000. And 5 years later, you're still making $50,000. You saved $2,000. But you lost $100,000 in increased earning potential. That's not saving. That's self-sabotage. The highest return on investment isn't in stocks. It isn't in real estate. It's in you, in your ability to earn, in your capacity to create value. Studies consistently show that education and skill development provide returns of 10 to 15% per year over a lifetime. That beats almost any other investment. People protect their savings account like it's sacred, but they won't spend $500 on something that could make them $5,000 more per month. That's not financial wisdom. That's financial fear. The most expensive thing you can do is stay the same. Because while you're staying the same, everything else is changing. Technology is advancing. Industries are evolving. People who are learning are pulling ahead. And you're falling behind without even moving. What you earn tomorrow is being decided by what you invest in yourself today. And if you're investing nothing, you already know what tomorrow looks like. Now we get to the 7th habit, and this is the one that connects everything. Habit number 7, not seeing money as flow. You don't see money as flow. You see it as a number in your account, a paycheck, a balance, something static. But money isn't static. It's a river. It comes in, it goes out. And what matters isn't how much comes in. It's how much stays. How much moves in the right direction, how much builds instead of bleeds. This is the difference between people who work their whole lives and stay broke and people who build actual wealth. Poor people count money. People with wealth design flow. They build systems that keep money moving toward them instead of away from them. They create barriers. They automate savings. They structure their finances so the default action is growth, not loss. You're not poor because you don't make enough. You're poor because you don't have a system that keeps what you make. Think about it. You could double your income tomorrow. And if your system doesn't change, that extra money will find a way out just like the current money does. Lifestyle inflation, new expenses, better versions of old habits. This is why lottery winners go broke. This is why athletes making millions end up bankrupt. More money doesn't fix bad systems. It just makes bad systems more expensive. The people who get ahead aren't necessarily the ones who earn the most. They're the ones who master the flow. They know where every dollar enters. They know where it's supposed to go. They know what it's building. You don't need to be rich to start thinking about flow. You need to start thinking about flow to become rich. Your income is one number. But your financial life is determined by dozens of smaller flows, where money enters, where it pools, where it leaks, where it grows. Here's what this looks like practically. When money comes in, it immediately splits. Before you see it. Before you spend it. 10% goes to long-term savings. 10% goes to investments. 5% goes to learning. The rest is divided between necessities and controlled spending. It's not about how much you make, it's about how the flow is designed. A person making $60,000 with good flow will have more wealth than someone making $100,000 with chaos. Master the flow, and the amount becomes less important. Because even a small stream, properly directed, can fill a reservoir. But a massive river with no direction just floods and disappears. Remember that water tank from the beginning? This is how you stop the leaks. Not by getting a bigger tank, by fixing the holes. Let me bring this back to where we started. Remember the water tank? No single drop of water empties it. But it still ends up empty. That's these 7 habits. None of them will destroy you tomorrow. But together, consistently, they will keep you exactly where you are. Or worse, move you backwards while you're convinced you're standing still. You don't need to fix all 7. That's overwhelming. That's how people give up before they start. Just pick one. One habit you recognize in yourself. One pattern you're willing to interrupt. One change you can make today. Stop emotional spending for a week. Set up a basic budget tonight. Refuse to add new debt this month. Stop waiting and start now. Choose your future over someone else's opinion. Invest one small amount in learning something new. Track where your money goes for 7 days. Or design one simple flow for your next paycheck. Just one. Because one change breaks the pattern, and breaking the pattern is how you break free. So here's my question for you. Out of these 7 habits, which one describes you most accurately? And if you had to choose just one habit to stop in the next 7 days, which one would it be? Drop it in the comments. Because knowing is the first step, but choosing is where change begins. The tank is still leaking, but now you know where. And knowing where the leak is means you can finally do something about it.